am now master of the world.
David Cohen, entrepreneur and founder of Amai Consulting, impact over 20 million people monthly through social media, focusing on habits, finance, and personal development. He transitioned from corporate life to education, establishing a children's entrepreneurship center and offering financial tips online. David, please welcome to the stage. Humberto Gutierrez is a strategic public image and online reputation consulting, TEDx speaker, opinion leader, and personal branding, social media and public image, founder of Consejos Imagen, international speaker and business consultant. Welcome. Hey, that one. And this panel is co-hosted and led by Diego Ruzzarin, CEO of Filosofia, is a critical thinker and content creator with over 7 million followers in his social media. His global center for food design challenges societal norms, exploring cultures and questioning traditional values. Fluent in multiple languages, Ruzzarin promotes critical thinking through his podcast, What Do You Believe? Why You Believe What You Believe, and his book Incongruencias Pseudo-Intelectuales. Through travel and online platforms, he stimulates critical discourse and innovation in the world of food design.
So hello, I'm going to be leading this. So guys, pleasure to be here, pleasure to be sharing the stage with you. Nice to meet you. We just met yesterday, which was kind of awkward because it ended at 4 a.m. in the morning. I guess it's a nice way to meet new people, isn't it? So what we share, all of us here in front, is that we recently started in social media, I guess, so we're all kind of new in this. And I guess eventually it became undeniable that to have a media presence was necessary for everyone, regardless of what they were doing, what type of work they do, what they want to achieve in the world. Not to have an appearance was not an option anymore. Everybody needs to be aware that we don't own our personalities anymore because of data and because how technology works. So it became kind of like automated, and now we have to find a way to deal with it. And so I wanted to start asking you guys, what inspired you to go into social media? If each of you want to take the question, what triggered you the necessity to create content?
Well, for me, it was chance. It was the middle of the pandemic, and I had a coffee with a friend that loves social media. He knows that I'm in financial consulting, and he just told me, do it. I mean, there's nothing that you can lose. Just start making content. I didn't know anything about social media at that point. I barely had my own personal social media, and he just told me to start, and that's where I found the passion. I didn't have it before doing it, then I started doing it, and it's an interesting world. It has its ups and downs, and a lot of like a B-side for the cassette. But I mean, I think it's something that you learn with time. It's something that maybe some of you have it before creating content, not me. I had to learn on the way, and once you start, it's quite a fun path.
And for me, I wanted to get noticed, actually. Like, I truly believe in the power of personal branding, and social media is cheap, easy. Well, not that easy. We are going to talk about it later, but I wanted to get noticed, and I found a very useful tool in social media. So I started not so soon. I guess my YouTube channel started like 7 years ago, 7 or 8. I'm old. Sorry. Sorry for the disappointment.
For me, it happened by mistake, honestly. I was sharing recipes on TikTok during the pandemic, and I think it was my 4th video. Everyone thinks I'm Mexican because of my accent, but I'm actually Ecuadorian. And I uploaded this recipe for a guacamole, and of course it was wrong because I don't know how to make guacamole. And it went viral, and it was all these hate comments saying like, "What kind of Mexican are you? Like, who puts cucumber on?" And I was trying to do a healthy version. And it happened by mistake. And I remember when I received all this hate at the beginning, I was like hiding. I thought I would never go back to social media. And I remember like the usernames of what they were saying to me. And then probably a week later, I was thinking, this is huge. This could be a business. There's no such thing as bad advertisement. So I went back, and then I started my whole career there, and it changed my life.
It's always good to see like people stumble into success, right? Like even if you don't really wanted it, if you're not looking for that, you're doing something else. And it's crazy because I think I can share a little bit as well. I also started during the pandemics. I had no intention of doing social media. I was almost peer pressured into it. Like I really was resisting myself to go into it because I felt like this everybody was doing it, and I felt it was artificial and fake. I felt I didn't belong in that world. But I had a trainee in one of my companies that was bugging me all the time, and he told me, like, if you could record all of my conversations with friends, because my conversations were always like super deep and weird, and we go into different topics. And this guy was always following me around with a camera, which I found super annoying. But then he started uploading the videos, and the videos became super viral. And I said, well, maybe there's something. Maybe he's right about that. And I think most of the time, creatives, they don't fully understand what they're doing until it's materialized, until it's realized. And I think figuring it out, it's a material process. I think you have to do it in the work. And it's something that it was said in the previous panel, which I think it makes a lot of sense, that talking about it is never the same as actually doing it. And doing it, you will learn much more, and you will actually figure out why you're doing it and how you can do it better by providing a physical intention versus just planning and listening to podcasts and taking notes, which is so abstract, and in the end it can lead you to nowhere. And during that conversation, and I, having said that we all stumble into quote unquote success, what would you say is a pivotal moment in your creative journey that had, in a way, signified you as a content creator? Like, what mistake made you what you are, or what pivotal moment in your career do you think is constituting to you as an individual? And if you want to start.
So when I started my social media career, I'm an architect. That's my profession, and I managed to find my dream job, and I was so unhappy. I thought I would be happy with my dream job. And I was working at this architectural firm, I think like 12, 14 hours a day. It was based in Hong Kong, so I had meetings at 2, 3 a.m. I was so unhappy. And I remember one day seeing my boss. He was like 50 something, and he was a very famous architect. And I remember he and we were at 3 a.m. in the office, and like all my other coworkers, and he was so happy to be there. And I just thought to myself, I would never want to be here at this office at 3 a.m. when I'm 50. So for me, that moment I realized that I needed to do something that would make me happy. But this pivotal moment for me was later. I quit this job. I started being a health coach, and I created this whole persona around me, Marce Holistica, that it's a health coach and talks to you about how to have a healthy lifestyle. And it happened the same thing. I hated my job. I was like, okay, now I'm free. I do social media. I have my own business. And I still hate it. And I think what I found out through this process is that I kept putting myself into this little box, trying to label myself. And now I realize that I'm just multi-passionate, and I can be whatever I want to be. But I had to go through these experiences to realize that I don't have to have a degree or a label in order to be important or be a leader in this industry.
Well, my answer is going to be a little bit more superficial, because the pivotal moment for me was when I started making money out of it. It is. I mean, because it goes with this whole panel and this event, because usually creative work is set to be something out of mere passion, and just you like to do it, but you have to do something else in order to live. So at the beginning, I just started creating content. I actually love to teach people whatever I know. I think if it's worth sharing, I want to share it. And it was barely 6 months ago that I started making money out of it, and I realized that creative minds are just have huge potential to actually make a good living, not just like a regular job, but you can actually use your mind to create a lot of wealth, and while having a positive impact in the world. Because if you have a good content and you actually help people in social media, you can have a, I don't know how to call it, but it's luck. I mean, you're fortunate to be able to enjoy the process and actually make money out of it. And I think that's something it's a dream, right? It's what everyone should want, I think.
Yeah, I agree definitely with the money part, because I think most of the creators have to attach their project to the business model they have. Like if you're doing videos or anything, it's fine, but how are you going to make money on that project? And that happened to me when I noticed that my YouTube channel can make me noticed, and most of people know me because of some things, and maybe call me for conferences or events and that kind of stuff is so nice to me. That was the moment when I noticed that, yeah, it's nice to make content and you can make a life out of it. And That's a greatest part. Like you struggle with making content, and sometimes you get tired of doing it. It's not a regular job. Maybe it's worse than a regular job. You're not resting like other jobs, but you can make a life out of it. So that was it.
I would say, I don't know, I think pivotal moment is kind of weird to say, but I think there's probably a couple. And I was actually having this conversation with other people before we started the panel, but I think what defines a successful content creator is not the fact that you can, come up with a cool idea or come up with a cool concept or even start making money with it. I think that's important to begin with, to get consolidated. But I think what really distinguishes a mediocre content creator versus a successful one is how fast and how strongly can you recover from your first major dip. Like from the first time you start like losing relevance, losing track, people are like stop following you or your videos don't work anymore. How can you rethink about yourself in order to either re-become important or reimagine yourself as something else that you also desire to express? And more personally for me was the fact that I always resisted social media because I thought my area of interest, which is philosophy, is not compatible with social media. Because philosophy is so much about taking your time, being conscious, being critical, thinking deeply, being patient, really digesting information. And content in social media is so fast, it's so microwave, it's so vague and banal and superficial. And I always felt, okay, so social media is not for philosophy. And for me, it was a really pivotal point where I found out that, like we can't resist the changes in technology. There were philosophers, and there's actually text about it, that when textbooks were invented, philosophers said that it was the end of memory. They say that because we invented textbooks, people are going to stop remembering things because everything is written down. So I think this fatalist approach to life, where we see a new technology and we say, oh my God, it's over. Like AI, oh my God, artists are going to run out of business because AI is going to destroy everything. I think that fatalist point of view is not original and it's not true. What we have to understand is that the medium itself is part of the message. But the content behind the medium is what is really important and is what we should strive to perpetuate and in a way keep relevant. So I felt if I can take the challenge to make philosophy relevant in social media, that's interesting for me. That's creative enough to challenge me and to take me into that arena. And I found it really surprising because at the beginning I felt, well, I'm always going to be niche. I'm never going to be big. I'm not going to be a relevant content creator in Latin America. And now I'm top 3 in Spotify in Latam, like millions of people follow me, and I'm talking about super strange, super niche conversation talking points. Hegel was a trending topic in Twitter for a month because of me, and nobody reads Hegel. That's insane. Like it doesn't make any sense. And I felt, well, so there's something behind this. I think if people stop predisposing themselves to the stereotypes of the limits of technology, then you can really find what you can do with it. And I think that was the pivotal point for me, because the challenge, the creative challenge of reinventing the talking point to adapt to the technology medium was what really like triggering my itch to say the point. So the next question I wanted to ask you guys, how do you balance this dilemma between talking about what you want to talk and talking about what the algorithm wants you to talk about? Because you always have this strange feeling in the back of your head that the algorithm wants something. And it rewards you like a dog when you do it right, and it punishes you like a dog when you do it wrong. But then again, you have your own desires, your own interests. So how do you balance those two?
So for me, as I told you before, I grew my social media probably over 3 to 6 months. I gained a lot of followers, so I was very addicted to virality, and I thought that's how it's supposed to go. Like I just post a video and I get 1 million views. It's normal. And it turns out it's not. So after the first year, I had my first dip, and I realized how addicted I was to the likes, to the views, and I started, how would I say this, like selling my soul to the algorithm and just trying to seek for that virality. But I realized that this community that I built, I was not taking care of them. I was not. Because at the end of the day, I feel like I don't even talk about the things that I like. Yes, I do have interest in this, but my main goal is to service whoever's following me. And they're going through the same things that I already went, so I'm helping them achieve where I'm at right now. So I started nurturing my community, and I just started prostituyendo my social media so I can be viral. And I realized really quickly that it didn't align with me. I didn't feel authentic. I didn't feel excitement for creating content. I just remember, because my content it's wellness, and the moment that it hit me was when, instead of, I document everything that I do every day, right? Like the healthy routine, morning routine, when I'm reading, journaling, whatever. And I realized this moment that I stopped doing my routines, and because I wanted, and I was just doing them so I could film. So instead of reading this book, I remember I sat myself with the camera in front of me, opened the book, fake I was reading, and then closed the book and turned off the camera. And that moment I was like, no way, I can't keep doing this. I need to be real. So I had to come into terms with the fact that sometimes reviews are gonna suck, and I don't even like saying suck. It's just what it is, and then you'll come up again.
I think that you have to take vanity out of the equation, because it's so fun to have likes, and that virality is fun. It's like, yeah, super fun. Yeah, it is actually. And you feel motivated when you're getting viral or likes or anything. But if you can take that vanity or your ego part out of it and share what you like, and you think that it's valuable for your followers, I think that's the point that you have to search. You have to look for it. The balance is the word. Like, you have to balance the things that you like. Maybe people don't like it that much, but you have to use it. If you like it, if you feel it's valuable, yeah, then use it, and then share another part with virality or the algorithm, like, right? So I think it's balance. It's not easy, because your ego is screaming every time, like, you have to get followers, you have to get views and likes, and it's part of the job. So it's not easy, but I guess try to find that balance is the most important part. Try to find it, right?
I like numbers better. So what works for me is it's no, not money, like numbers, actual numbers. It's I call it the 70-20-10. So 70% of the content that I create goes directly to what I want to create, what I love, what I like, what I want to communicate, what I know that my audience wants to see. Not necessarily the algorithm, just like the quality of the followers, the quality of the content that you create it goes with what you know that the people like. Not necessarily the new people out there, but the ones that already follow you. So that's 70% of the content. 20% of the content is more related to what the algorithm wants. Like, the trending topics, there's waves that come and go from social media. You try to hop on them, obviously giving it your essence, giving it what your point of view, and how you can talk about it without just prostituirte, like, without changing your mind and without confusing the audience. Just like hop on those waves, because that's the way that you're gonna grow. Like the first 70%, it's just nurture your current audience. The other 20% is to gain new followers, because you want to grow. I mean, there's ego there, and it's important to grow your community. And the last 10% is something I call experimental content. I mean, you try new videos, you try new sometimes you have characters, and sometimes you're speaking to the camera, and sometimes it's just like a off voice and different images, and you try different content that might work for you. And if you find it that the algorithm likes it and your community likes it, then that 10% immediately goes to the 70%, and you start just imagining new stuff and trying new stuff, and you keep growing constantly, and it's harder for you to just stagnate, like flat, instead of growing. So that's what I do.
I think I've heard so many theories about like how people keep the balance, or how even people plan out like the type of content creation that they do, and like they chart it out. There's this very, very cool theory about hot and cold content. I don't know if you heard it. For the people that don't know, there's two types of contents according to the algorithm, because it's not real division, right? But hot content is whatever is related to trending topics. So hot content is everything that the algorithm is going to in a way propose to viewers, even if they don't know you. Just because the topic is hot, the content is gonna get flown and suggested to other people because the topic is hot. But there's also cold content. Cold content is content that is never gonna go out of fashion. You can talk about love, you can talk about politics, you can talk about soccer. As long as you're not talking about yesterday's game, that's okay. That's cold content. It will be always relevant, right? So in a way, a lot of people balance the type of content creation by balancing out hot and cold content. To me, like, honestly, like I don't really care. Like as soon as I ended my first year of content creation, I stopped looking at indicators and numbers, because I felt I was really like getting dragged in. And I think it's a very unconscious process that you're not really aware of. You think you're aware and you think you're in control, but you're not really. Because in a way, if you're making money and if you make this your living, then you cannot really jeopardize everything. You know, like you can take small, controlled, experiments, but you're never going to fully like risk everything. So I stopped looking at everything. I hired a team that I trust, and they look at the numbers, but they don't give me reports. I don't really know what's going on, and I just do what I like. Like I see sometimes that the videos suck, and sometimes the videos are doing really well, but at least I'm at ease with what I do. Like I feel very, very confident. I like the topics of conversation. I can do 5-minute videos analyzing a song by Peso Pluma, and then the next day a 3-hour video explaining Rhizomes by Deleuze, which is something that nobody's gonna watch. I don't really care. Like I talk about the stuff that I really want to talk about, and it's kind of strange because I think is a point of privilege to get to that stage where you can talk about whatever the fuck you want, because it implies that the platform itself is big enough that it can sustain you, and you can just risk everything all the time because the base of media that you have already produced is being monetized, and it sustains your constant risk. But also having the notion that the constant risk is going to produce enough wins that is going to keep the ball running, and is going to keep, in a way, like the implicit division between the 70, 20, and 10, it's implied there. But I think later on, like your base is already so huge that you don't need to care about the base anymore. You're just constantly experimenting. At the moment, I'm doing video games, Dungeons and Dragons, geopolitics, psychoanalysis, philosophy. Like I couldn't care less. Like my content is all fucked up. Like I swear to God, it's like a weird orgy with goats and blenders, and it's so weird. Like I swear, if people ask me like what type of people consume my content, I have no idea. I have no idea. I think the target is so mixed, but because in a way what triggers my interest is also so mixed that I prefer to keep it weird, like Austin. Going to the next one, could you highlight a project that really epitomizes your unique creative style? Like one project that you say, this is me, like I'm really proud of this, even if you haven't done it yet. Like what would be like your dream project to work with? Or if you have one already, congratulations, what is it? Dream projects.
Just so there's no more silence. But I think the thing I enjoy the most, and the one that I'm actually proud of, is turning or just evolving from not only social media, but being a speaker, changing from just behind the screen to being able to connect to people through, on a stage and talking to them. And the cool thing about this is that you can create hour-long conferences, not only like 2-3 minute videos, where you can actually connect through a whole hour and interact with the people and hear them out and answer questions. And this I don't know how to say it, but you make it tangible. Through the screen, it's just it's impersonal. You don't really know the person that's behind the screen, but whenever you do it in person, events like this, I think that's something beautiful, because people go to watch you and people know that they're going to learn something new, and you can teach them whatever you want that you think it's valuable for them. So I think the most beautiful and thing that I'm proud of is being able to do it in person in different parts of the world, well, America. But that's the thing I like the most. That's the thing I enjoy the most, and being able to share my ideas and share my point of view, and knowing that people out there want to listen. I think that's amazing.
Like it's the same. I would say that to get people offline is the best part of the online part. Like if you can take the people that follows you and maybe you are influencing them, and you can take it offline, is so nice. I went to National Auditorium last month, a couple months ago, and have that amount of people like participating and screaming and moving. It's like I'm influencing them. That's a real influencer, I think, and that's the most. I guess that's the biggest project in my life, like being a speaker and try to share my ideas with the world, not just in screen but outside. I guess that's it. But that's a good question. I was like,
For me, okay, so I don't know if every content creator can relate to this, but in my case, the way I make my money is through online coaching. I have an online business. So since I started, I've been doing different type of programs, courses, and it's been almost like a copy paste from everything that I've already seen. And there's this feeling when you're selling yourself and a product that you have to look perfect and you have to have it all figured out. And for me, I was doing wellness, so I was teaching about productivity and how to organize yourself and how to be perfect, basically. And I felt so unauthentic doing it because I'm not perfect. And I was teaching productivity, but at the same time, I'm the biggest procrastinator ever. And I would procrastinate, create these programs about productivity, which felt so insane. So for me, I created this project recently, a couple of months ago. I created this course that I call this whole process like I came out of the closet because I told all of my followers, look, I'm not productive all the time. I really suck. I'm so procrastinating. Like I procrastinate all the time. And the reason why I know how to organize myself is because I really suck at it. So the fact that I was vulnerable and I could, for the first time, tell everyone that it's not because I'm perfect. It's because I'm so bad at it that I had to become good at it. That really freed me. So, and I created this course called Get Shit Done, which the whole thing, it's just something that I really enjoy creating. So instead of doing, oh, this is the module one where you do this and that, how I've seen it before, I asked myself, how would I really have fun creating a course or just taking it? And I remember I used to play Sims or GTA when I was little, a long time ago, and I had these cheat codes. Like you could get money and you could like do whatever you want. So I created these cheat codes for life where lazy people and procrastinators can be productive. So instead of telling you you have to wake up at 5 a.m., I just give you cheat codes on how to be productive the easiest way possible. So for me, that project, it feels so authentic. So I'm very proud of that.
Like authentically faked. Yeah. Nothing more authentic than to embracing fakeness. No, I think it's cool, and it's kind of weird that you mentioned procrastination because I just read a text by a dead philosopher about procrastination, which is interesting. That procrastinators are really efficient at doing everything else but the thing that they need to do. It's insane. Like procrastinators are geniuses organizing their time in order to avoid true responsibility. It's insane. Like they're the best at avoiding, but they're really efficient avoiders. And it's interesting when you read it dialectically, when you read it negatively, procrastinators are the masters of organizing their time because they can find occupation in the most stupid details in order to avoid doing what they really should be doing, which is an interesting read on procrastination. On my side, I think at the moment, the project that really drives my passion is Dungeons and Dragons, which is geeky as fuck. But I really wanted to do something interesting and cool with it in the sense that I have to reconcile the fact that I'm bored to death with politics and geopolitics. It's depressing. It's fucking depressing. Like war coverage, geopolitics, and being a consultant. Like I currently work with 6 heads of states in America, like doing direct consultancy with 6 presidents. They're dumb. Like they're so dumb. It hurts.
All of them?
Yeah. It hurts my feeling like to go talk to them and see geopolitics. It bores me to death. I'm really fed up. So I really wanted to do something different, and I felt like I needed a breather, I needed to, disconnect completely. So I felt like, what's the most uninfluential topic that I can talk about? I've talked about reality way too much. Like I've dwelt into materialism and geopolitics and philosophy way too much. Like I've spent the last 8 years of my life doing nothing else but to read philosophy and understand geopolitics and human behavior. Now I want to do the opposite. Like I really want to think about dream worlds and not necessarily as a method of escapism, because I think that will be not only futile but unresponsible. But I want to understand, why are we so addicted to entertainment and why are we so dependent on entertainment? Like what is it about running away that is so compelling to us? And also why it's our dream worlds completely contagiated by the fatalism and negativity of reality. Like, why can't we dream optimistically anymore? Like, why are all movies about end of the world, zombies, catastrophes, AI going wrong? Like, we can no longer even fucking dream about nice stuff. Like, even our dreams are nightmares. Like, what the fuck happened? Like, did we lose our ability to come up with cool solutions for the futures? When was the last time you guys were inspired by a movie? Like you saw a movie about the future and said, fuck yeah, I want to live there. Like most of the movies about the future are messed up. Like most of the movies about the future are scary as balls. Like I don't want to do any of that. Like Elysium is fucked up. Matrix is fucked up. Like any movie about the future is about a disaster. So like, what is it about reality that contagiated and destroyed our ability to think about prosperous futures? So I wanted to think about a product or a project that investigates into our ability to create fantasies that are actually inspiring. Like, I really want people to be able to dream again and say, that's a future I'm hopeful for. And in a way, what entertainment does for us is that it does the process of social dreaming. Like movies, dreams in our place. In a way, movies are like social dreams. You have your individual dreams when you're high or when you're sleeping, but art and cinema and entertainment does the social dreaming for us. It captures social anxiety and social tensions and project those tensions into the future. And what's really got me shit scareless is the fact that our dreams for the future are all about catastrophes. So I want to do something different. I really want to get people together, the creative people together, to dream about stuff that can actually make us hopeful again, which is harder and harder. Going to the next one. Now we have an activity. This is interesting. But before we go into an activity, we're going to do a little Shark Tank activity, which I think is going to be fun-ish. If you were to give, I don't want to say advice because it sounds vague. I don't really think individual experiences apply to anyone else. But if you were to give advice in face of hopelessness, because a lot of people feel like this struggle in front of either social media or even like pursuing whatever you want to pursue, what would be your words of motivation or your words of caution or even your cheat codes or advice that you can share with people that are actually struggling to find a pace into the creative world?
I guess start sooner. I mean, like, if you're waiting for your video to be perfect, you are waiting too long. Like your cameras and microphones and lights and everything, it's start sooner. You never know. Maybe the project is gonna fail, even you are getting the best stuff possible. So start sooner, fail sooner, and it's going to be easier that way. That's for me.
I'll give you the first one is one that helped me a lot because you regularly think that what I know is not gonna help anyone, or I'm not a genius in the matter. I'm not an expert. I can't put out valuable content out there. But what helped me is there are always persons out there that know less than you do. And there are also people out there that know way more than you do. But there's a lot of people that don't know anything or that want to learn what you know, even if you don't know a lot, even if you're not an expert. So any content can give value to someone, and you just have to put it out there if you want to put it out there, of course. But it's don't wait for you to be an expert, just put it out there. And the other one is numbers. I think I love numbers, and I think they're really important because I mean we're talking about creative industry, but we don't usually learn about those statistics and learn about the value of analyzing the data, and it's essential for you to grow. So whenever you start doing content, pay attention to where are your followers at, what's their age, what's the gender, what's what time do they log into the app, what time do they log out, and what kind of content do they like most. Check the views, check the, I mean, I know it's not good because Marce said it, you might get dragged in, but analyze it critically like you would analyze your bank account. Actually just pay attention to the numbers in your audience, and that way you're gonna grow much faster. Because if you know which days are better for you to post, and you know what time is better for you to post, and you know which language works better in your videos, you're gonna get way more. I mean, it's a fast track. It's a fast track. If you don't pay attention, you're just gonna learn it like out of by luck, by chance. You'll eventually learn it, but if you analyze it soon, you're gonna grow much faster.
For me, the first one, super easy. I blocked my whole family before I started social media because they are my biggest critics. So I thought that was stopping me a lot to post online, to be honest. My family and my friends from high school. I think what I would do, I would make a list of all the things that are stopping me, and I would find an easy way to fix that. So for me, it was my family are going to criticize me, my friends are going to criticize me because she wants to be an influencer. So I blocked them all. And then the second thing that I did is that I created this alter ego because, like you said, the imposter syndrome is huge. You think like, who's gonna care about what I have to say? So stop thinking you're talking to the world and start thinking you're talking to yourself 2 years ago. And that's the only person you're helping. And everything you know right now would have been so valuable for that version of you 2 years ago. So I created this alter ego. I even put it a name. Instead of using my last name, I used Marce Holistica. And Marce Holistica was this girl that didn't exist yet, but she was so healthy, so organized. She had everything figured out, so she could advise people on how to do it, and she didn't have all the insecurities that I had. So I just pretended I was her and showed up as her every day.
So I suck at giving advice, so I won't even try. We're gonna go into the activity, which I think it may be fun. So we're gonna play a little Shark Tank game. The notion with this Shark Tank game was suggested by Danny. I think it's a cool idea. Is that you can get together in groups, either 2-3 people, and we're gonna give you 5 to 10 minutes, and you're gonna pitch to us a content idea. It can be either a short video or a line of content, or even like a fake media account or a gag or whatever you want. And we'll judge the best one. And I suggest that the winner is actually going to be executed by one of us. You agree? Guys, choose your teams. We'll give us music for like 5 minutes and have them come up with cool ideas for a content line. You pitch it to us and then we'll execute it maybe on our media. Maybe.
In the one pro-Israel, gonna talk about the perspective of the people from Israel, and on the other side, Gaza and West Bank, right? But the point here is actually numbers. We're gonna create GoFundMe campaigns, and we'll see which one will get more money. And based on this is how successful the YouTube channel is. It's basically just clickbait as possible, and we'll just get to a couple of million followers in 2 to 3 months. Thank you.
I think my only feedback is that already exists. Like, yeah, CNN and Fox News. Yeah, they're both owned by BlackRock, and they're both owned by the same company, and that's normally what they do. Like, this is how media works. Like, all media belongs to the same people, and they pretend to support one side or the other side, and they make money out of both. Yeah, like, but it's not a bad idea. I think it will work regardless. There's a very famous newspaper in Argentina that does that. That they have the largest outlet media for left and right politics, but they're both owned by the same guy. Yeah, but it's a good idea. I think Israel and Palestine is relevant enough, and it's probably not gonna go away any soon. So yeah, not a bad idea. Cool guys. Next, sí, guárdenlos, súmelos. Team 1. Who's next?
And when we have white smoke, we have found the content.
The content creator. Hi guys. Name an idea.
My name is
It's okay. We'll translate it.
Saida, hablar sobre educación financiera de México, y hemos visto que la educación financiera en México ha sido una de las crisis de estos tiempos. Entonces, una de las cosas que queremos mejorar es que cada persona puede comenzar a invertir, que puede empaparse de estos temas y que la verdad tiene que perder el miedo. También, la principal duda que hay hoy en día es de cómo empezar. Entonces, lo que nosotros hemos creado para nuestra propaganda es un curso que te lleve paso a paso desde cómo iniciar, cómo abrir tu cuenta, cómo empezar y cómo visualizarte, cómo va a ser tu retiro, y que al final del día tú también lo te rodea.
Es importante recalcar que él ya se dedica a eso, por eso que pudimos tomar ya un ejemplo sólido, y de hecho él me comentaba platicando que lo que llama más la atención de la gente es cómo les explica cómo es lo que más.
Sí, la verdad es que la principal duda es que, todos sabemos cómo hacerlo de manera segura, pero siempre está el tabú de que, oye, ¿cómo yo me acerco a la bolsa? ¿Cómo puedo invertir en empresas grandísimas? Si yo soy una persona que tengo, pues, es un paradigma que todos tenemos hoy en día, y que la energía, pues, es una de las cosas sencillas de hacer en estos tiempos.
Dale tú, ¿no?
So I'm just gonna summarize. So it's a YouTube channel for financial education specific to the Hispanic plight and how to start investing in the stock market using losing the fear of taboo of unknown investment methods.
Okay, so it's my turn to give the feedback. First of all, it has to be done. I mean, it's basic. It's important. Everyone has to talk about finance for, the regular person, not just the finance guy doing finance, but everyone has their own personal finances. So the topic, amazing. I love it. I do content on finance as well, so that's great. What is the downside? I think there's too many people doing it already. So I think you need to have something that's a differentiate. I don't know if that's a word in English. Something different, because if not, I can tell you right now, at least 20 content creators that do personal finance and teach you investments, and I love them. They're great, but it's really hard to grow fast when there's already anything that you can think about in investments and personal finance. There's already a video up there, and it's a good video. I just tell you, find something that's really different, and it will work. But if you do the same thing that everyone's doing, it's really tough to grow.